Hello, it's me, Lisa, and I'm back. I took a little hiatus there from making videos, which was kind of nice since making these videos is an extreme amount of work. And I really don't have the best equipment, but I'm muddling through. And actually, this, I believe, I have a set of videos this week and then next week, and then that would be pretty much a wrap for this class. So we're getting pretty close to finishing up. Exciting, isn't it, to have your first set of web pages out on the internet? But we're not there yet, almost. So let's review. I believe we're into week 11 this week. And let's go ahead and jump into the course. And let's review what we're doing this week. Let's see, week 11. And actually, no, we're going to be reviewing week 12 today. You have been participating in a question and answer session, which was week 11, and I was able to post some things for everybody. So we're moving forward into week 12, which is what we're going to review here in this video, week 12. So opening up week 12, this week, we're basically linking all of our pages together, and I have gone ahead and created some additional pages as part of the demonstration website I've been using, and I'm going to just briefly review it with you. I'm going to refer to you to some Lynda tutorials that you've already watched, and I suggest you, if you're confused about linking, that you watch them again. You're also responsible during the linking process to be sure and have something in your website link out to an external website somewhere, which if you finish and complete the links page with your citations, you will have met that requirement. And then you'll need to add an email link to yourself, and you are the webmaster of your site. So you'll need to put an email link somewhere in your site. Also, you can reference the handout that I have as a link here in the eCampus course. I'll click it here. Oh, maybe I need to make that link. I may have forgotten to make the link. Here I am doing a demonstration on links, and I've actually forgotten to do a link in the assignment write-up. So sorry about that. I'll have to follow up on that after this demonstration. And what's in that handout, though, and I've given you several links on the same handout. It's not a new one. You have this handout already. It's basically the web organization handout. And at the bottom, it talks about the things you need to have on each page. So just make sure that you read that handout and that you cover all that criteria. Also, I noticed as I was going through a lot of your projects, looking at your web pages, that some people are not paying attention to styling, to a consistent styling set of features on all of your pages. In other words, I'm looking at some pages and they have Helvetica, and then other pages that have Times, all in the same website. So you need to make sure that you're consistent in terms of styling all your pages across the website consistently. And you'll use that with CSS, or you'll do that with CSS. Unfortunately, we're not doing external style sheets for this project. You're going to maintain an internal style sheet for each page, and you're going to need to make sure that that style sheet is consistent across the entire website. Once you've completed the linking portion of your website, you also are responsible for putting together your citations page, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today and show you some samples of. So basically, your 50 points for the week is linking all your pages together and then setting up your citations page that will pretty much be attached to your links page. Okay? So let's go ahead and jump into Dreamweaver and take a look at what I have here. Okay, so I've been a busy beaver over here putting together this website along with you, and trying to get my personal website finished at the same time that I'm actually teaching a class has been quite a task. But I'm getting there. And actually, what I'm showing you here isn't actually going to be my website. I've changed it a lot, but I'm keeping this as a demonstration because I like the simplicity of it. But it will be up when the class is over, so I'll have to give you a link as well to check it out. But here is my home page, and I've changed it up a little bit. And if I put myself in the live mode, if you remember a couple weeks ago when I was going through how to set up your pages, I mentioned that I was using a custom font, and here is the custom font being shown to you here in the live mode. You can't see it when you're not in live mode. Okay, in the live mode, here is my portfolio introduction page. I had to make at least 4 pages so that I could put together this demonstration for linking. I've got a page that is an indication of when you go to a page in my website that something gets enlarged, and you can see it up close. So this is like a large image page. And then I have my links page, which is what we're going to talk about today as well. If I put this in the live mode, you can sort of see it here as my my links page. So I've gone ahead and spent some time to link all these pages together, and if you go into the browser, we'll just look at it quickly here in a browser window. So take it off of live and go into Chrome here, and in Chrome here's my home page, and then when I click on the portfolio, I get to my portfolio page. When I click over here, I've added this in. This is going to be what gets you back to home. So instead of having a home button over here, I'm going to use my logo mark to get you back to home. So if you click portfolio, it takes you to here. If you click my logo, it takes you back to home. And if you click links, I also have this linked where it'll take you to the links page. And then I also have the home button or the home logo here to take you back to home. So keep in mind when you're setting up a website that you always want to have on each one of your interior pages a link that takes you back to the home page, which indeed I do have. So I've got portfolio, I've got a logo link taking me back to home. In my links page, I have a logo link taking me back to home. And notice also that that link back to home is in exactly the same place, and I'm using the exact same image so that it's not confusing to our viewers as to how to get back home. It's pretty much consistent and stays the same. The other thing you'll notice about my website is all of the text and the formatting is exactly the same. So even if you're on the home page, the type font that I'm using and the point size is consistent. When you click on to the portfolio and you get into this section, I've sized down my navigation just slightly because it turns into a horizontal navigation versus a vertical navigation. But the type font is still the same. Also, you could see that the type font with my name in it is also consistent and staying the same. And that's what I was talking about when I made the comment about your styling. Your CSS styling needs to remain consistent throughout the entire website. That's part of what makes a website work, is that everything looks similar and it's consistent. Otherwise, viewers will get very confused and think they're on a different website completely and bail. You'll lose them. Let's see. The other thing is I've got my footer information down here, and that is indeed consistent with the rest of the text. So you can kind of see here. All right, so back to here. All right, so let's jump in and take a look at how I did this in my Dreamweaver pages. So over here in Dreamweaver, and based on the discussion we had last week, several of you are doing different things. Everyone's doing something different. And this is when the class becomes unique in that everybody had the same project, but everybody's solving it in a different way. Challenge for the teacher because I have to solve and figure out and troubleshoot, you know, as many students as I have web pages, I have to troubleshoot a different scenario every time. But it turns out to be interesting because at the end, everybody has a unique website that they can call their own. But it's challenging during these web page building days that we're kind of in right now. We're sort of finishing up on that though. But some of the students are using the absolute and the relative div positioning, and other students are using the float and the clear positioning. Either way, you still can achieve the same results. It's just two different ways to get there. And sometimes you can combine both of those together, which I believe I'm doing on some of my pages. I'm using some absolute position on some elements, and I'm using floating on other elements. So I have some documentation I might end up posting in this week on floating for anybody who's interested in reading up on what those are and how you can go about using those. Okay, so let's take a look here. I've got my web page, my home page open, and notice my consistent naming system. I have the index.html up here, I have portfolio.html, I have largeimage.html, and I have links.html. So all of my pages are simply named. They're using one word, all lowercase. We talked about this a couple weeks back on when you were optimizing your images, on how you should name things in a simple way and how you should keep everything lowercase and how you shouldn't use any spaces. Well, I'm holding that same naming system in regard in this particular case. I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm naming my files in a short way so that it's easier for me to link to them. Notice over here I also have my website going on, and you might see a lot more in here because I have my website inside subfolders and such, but over here you can kind of see Lisa's website, and I have my images folder here, and then I have all of my HTML pages that are starting to be generated for the site out here. I have several additional ones. I have ones that I'm using for demonstration. I have others that I'm using for backup. So I end up having several HTML pages in here. But of course, when it comes down to it, I won't be uploading all those to the FTP site, only the pages that are needed for my site. Okay? All right, so over here I have my navigation along the edge that I'm going to set up as linking. All right, now in the video in Lynda, here, for, again, creating a first website with Dreamweaver CS6, in the section about halfway down on adding navigation and pages, it talks about linking with the Spry, and that's exactly what I followed to link up my website. So I'm recommending that you go back to this and you look at these videos and you get a more detailed explanation. I'm just trying to do a quick overview because, as I said, I'm trying to keep these videos short because I just don't have the capabilities to really make long, drawn-out videos. So back to my home page here, you just click the Spry menu, and over here you get your Spry configuration window, and you're able at this point to select each one of your links, which in this case I got 4, and you could type in the individual pages that they link to. So in other words, I didn't do all my linking because some of my pages are not ready and I don't have them available yet, but I did do the portfolio. So I select the portfolio word here in my Spry, and then notice where it says link, I go ahead and type in the link to that portfolio. You can also, if you don't want to type it in, you can actually hit the little folder here and it will browse you out to your site folder, and you can select the portfolio webpage from there. So that's 2 ways you can link. You can also, if you really want to get daring, you can come over here in the code and you can literally type in the code for the Ahref link there as well. And that's up to you. Normally the Spry will give you this pound sign, and you could replace the pound sign with the name of the link page if you wanted to type it in the code. So there's 3 ways to do it. I chose to just do it using the Spry menu. It's a lot easier, and I just typed it in. But if you're not good at typing and your typing skills are kind of because if you misspell something here, your link will be broken and it will not work. So keep that in mind. All right, so I have a link for set up in here for my portfolio, and I have a link in here for my links page. Okay, now keep in mind you don't necessarily have to have your pages finished in order to add this information. If you need to use this one, you do have to have your pages finished because you have to go out and link to them physically. But if your pages are not finished, but you know what the names of them are because you're looking at your site diagram that you did several weeks ago, you can actually put the name of your links in there manually by typing them in. Okay, so that's how I did my Spry menu. Over here in this page, go ahead and turn off the live view. I did the same thing with my Spry menu. The only two that are activated in here, I believe, is for this one under portfolio. Since I'm actually on the portfolio right now, I have my portfolio linking to a large image just so that you can see it, just for purposes of this demo. In reality, I would not do that because I would probably have, you know, another link there of something else, but for purposes of this demonstration, I just wanted you to see how several pages get linked together. And then on the links, I have the same page link set up there. All right. Okay, now let's talk about how I did this link up here. This one's a little bit different since it's a link that is linking an image to a location. I have the image placed in here as an image, so you can kind of see here. There's different ways to place images into web pages, and I think the method that all of you are using is you're inserting images into these divs, and they're actually images that are available down here in your HTML. So in that particular case, it's very simple to make links out of them. You simply just click the image here in the page itself, and down below here it gives you information about the link. And if you see here, I have under link, I have index.html. I just went ahead and I typed in my index.html because anytime that you click on this link, it will take you back to the home page. And as we already know, the home page is always going to be called index.html. So basically I just selected this and I typed in index.html. You can easily also click on the folder here and browse out to your root folder, and you can find your index.html from there as well. Okay, so there's two ways to do that. And I made a link here. So those were the two links that I had, or actually three. So there's a link here, there's a link here, and a link here. And then I also linked up this page. And on the links page, I went ahead and did the same. I linked to portfolio, and I have a link to home. Okay, so you have some choices in terms of setting up your links. You definitely don't have to have all your pages finished to actually program in all your links. And in a perfect world, it's actually best before you make duplicates of your pages to actually program all your links in so that you don't have to do, you know, things over and over and over again. But maybe you didn't know what they were, maybe you didn't know to do them. And in a future scenario, maybe if you did a web page again, you'll actually think ahead and you'll program your links before you make duplicates of your pages and, you know, redesign them for other interior pages. And that's kind of what I did, is I actually had all my links already established before I duplicated my pages and made other interior pages. That's probably a more efficient way to work on this, but since this is a class and we're learning for the first time, it's actually okay if you have redundancy, because the redundancy actually helps you to learn, so it's not a bad thing. So don't worry too much about it. So you'll need to establish your links. The other thing you're going to need to do is create in your site an email link to self. And here on my home page again, I have this area down here, which is the footer information, and I have my name there. All right, and I believe they also go through this in your Lynda tutorial where they talk about how to come down into the insert menu and pull down to email link, and you go ahead and type in the name of your email address right here, and you say okay, and it will establish. It looks like I didn't have it all selected, so let me select it all here. Whoops. I'm getting a text message, but I will choose to ignore that and go ahead and put this in here. So the Lisa Gabriel. Okay. And go ahead and say, oh, whoops. I kind of got distracted from that text message that came through. Let me go ahead and take off the email link over here in the browser. So I'm going to clean this out of here because I accidentally didn't do it properly. I didn't have everything selected. Okay. So there's a space in there. Okay, refresh. All right, so sorry about that. I got distracted because I got a text. All right, so let's see. I'm going to go ahead and select my name, make sure it's all selected, and then go to email link and make sure that that email is in there. It was already in there because I did it earlier. Okay, and go ahead and say okay, and it went ahead and selected that. Looks like I still have not been able to capture that entire link. Let's see if I can scroll. See, I'm missing a portion there. So it looks like I might have to come over here and fix it in the HTML. That's probably the best thing to do. And put that close tag after L there. And refresh it. There you go. So I just fixed it in the HTML. I couldn't see it. It was so small, so I was missing a little portion of that. But I went ahead and made that email link. So now if you go into the browser, let's go ahead and put this back to 100%. And let's push this out to the browser. Save. Now I have a link down here. If I click it, it sends me out to my mail program. Okay. All right. So you're going to need a link in your website to self. And let's see. We did the image links. So you know how to make those image links. You can kind of see that down here. Again, if you look over here in the HTML, that image right there is indicated right here. You can see it is linking out to the index.html. Okay, so make sure you have a link to home. The last thing I want to review with you here in this video is how to make your bibliography. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do that in a separate video, just so we can make sure that this is not too long. So that would be the end of linking.